Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, the High Guy Jacobs. And today we've got another episode of Who TF Are You? Starring the one and only Joker's Revenge. Hello, Joker's Revenge, also known now as Ghost Protocol. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me. And what it is, what it do. I'm excited to be here.
Very nice to have you here. So let me ask you here first and foremost. I know you as Joker's Revenge. I've known you now for a heck of a long time, a couple of years, something like that, 3 years.
Yes,
and we used to play this game a lot together earlier in our career, and you took a little bit of a hiatus. So you're coming back now, name change, ready to rock and roll, ready to jump into all that Doomsday has to offer.
Yes, sir. Ready to go.
All right, good.
Stick around.
Let me ask you a question. What are you excited about coming back?
Honestly, the community.
Yeah.
The friendships. That's I mean, I'm excited to play the game, of course, but that's the main reason I came back.
The community and the people that you had, hey?
Yes, sir.
So because I mean, you were gone for a while. I mean, let's be honest, it was probably like about a year that you've been gone.
Yes, sir.
How many of your friends from back then are you still talking to?
To be honest, you.
Really?
Just you.
Wow. I'll take that as a badge of honor.
I mean, you should, because you built a whole community around you, and there's a reason why they like you and why they follow you.
I mean, I'd like to think so too. I'd like to think I'm an admirable individual.
For sure. For sure.
But but I appreciate the sentiment. I mean, it's definitely one of those things. When I saw you coming back, it definitely piqued something in my, memory banks. And so
I mean, I am pretty beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, it's the beard. I can't get past the beard.
I mean, and I got, this on top of me.
Okay, listen. This is by choice. Okay, this is by choice. It makes me look a lot more. If I grew my hair out, it makes me look 900 years old, and it's not fair to anybody. It's not fair to my wife. It's not fair to my kids. They call me grandpa. That's not fair. Right? So I do this by choice, all right?
I understand. Whatever excuses you got to make.
Yeah, exactly. Rub it in. Just salt in the wound,
I feel that.
So let me ask you a couple quick questions about your account just to get people kind of tagged into, who you are and what kind of experience you have in the game. Do you remember how many login days you have? How many consecutive login days you had?
Oh, man. I think it was, wasn't it low? Was it only like 170 or something like that?
No, I think it was above 200, wasn't it? I thought it was like 230. I think I'm only like I said, I think I'm only like a year above you now. We started around the same time.
Yeah, that could be.
So I'm only at and I'm only at like 640 days or something like that. So
that's a lot of days, bro.
Don't I know. It's crazy. I'm almost at exactly 2 years, and I'm sitting there going like that to me is nuts. To play the game.
You would never think just playing the game on your phone would turn into that amount of time.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it has. They've gotten their hooks in deep.
I'll feel that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, once you end up getting to a certain point, it's hard not to, right? You definitely want the additional stuff. You want the stuff that looks cool. You want the skins. You want the March skins, the city skins, all that cool stuff that comes with it. But you don't want to pay for it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's that, but there's also, like I said, the community. Sometimes that's just how it is.
For sure. I mean, don't get it twisted. I'm a heavy believer that the main proponent of this game and the reason why people come back to it day in, day out is because of the community. It's because of the friendships that they make. I mean, we're meeting people all over the world, right?
Oh, for sure.
Like that's the biggest thing. We're able to kind of bridge those gaps per se in regards to like distance and stuff like that, and make real connections. Like even you and I mean, we spend time chit-chatting outside of the game in Discord. I mean, we check in pretty much daily just to see how everybody's doing.
Not only that, we're in different countries.
Yeah, and I mean, that was just what I was getting to. It's like we live 15, 16, 20 hours away from each other, right?
100%. And that's on a flight.
No. I think I could probably drive. Hold on. Let me actually just double check. I'm just going to double check real quick. What city are you closest to?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yes, sir.
From where I am, my home, to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Finding best route. Holy shit. I wasn't far off. I said about 20 hours.
Yep.
It's a 26-hour drive.
Okay.
So it's not that bad. It's not. I wasn't far off. If we were playing Price is Right, I would have won.
Maybe you should play the lottery tonight.
No, I have to save my money for this game. So I do play the lottery. It's called gotcha events. It's called.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah. So let me ask you, what is your main focus? I mean, everyone's kind of got a main, right? I'm an infantry garrison player, for example. What's kind of your focus? What are you looking to do?
I'm looking to range. I want to be a range man. Field battle.
Field fighter?
We've had this discussion before.
Sure.
Based off who I have and everything like that, just seems to be the right way to go.
I think so. And to be fair, it's one of the more enjoyable avenues to play, in my opinion. I like field battle. It's crazy how good it is. It's crazy how fun it is. It's just unfortunately more expensive than I can afford. So I have to do what I can do the best.
Yeah, I understand that. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, every team needs them. I mean, you need people that are willing to sacrifice it and, send 5 squads in the field to push where you need. And I'm obviously willing to do that. I now have tier 6 riders.
For sure. But them resources.
That's right. That's the next big hindrance is how many resources it costs. So I've opened up. I now have 2 farming accounts. So I've got those. So I can hopefully support my main.
Figure ahead of me.
You don't have any farm accounts?
No, sir.
Well, I mean, you don't quite need them yet. You will need them eventually.
I'll just get my son to send me resources. It'll be right.
So you do have another farm account. His name is Son.
I was like, you want to eat this weekend?
Yeah, exactly. Send me some food. Yeah, that's right. We make an exchange. Real food for fake food. So let me ask you, as a range main, what's your favorite hero? Who's your favorite hero?
Well, they just released, what's his name?
Are you talking about Ethan or Sophie?
Well, Ethan from Pacific Rim. What's his name?
Oh, Jack Bronte.
Yeah, Jack Bronte. He's you said he's pretty good, but my favorite's probably Julia right now.
Julia is still a beast. No matter how you look at it, she's still a beast. She's probably one of the most utilitarian, or not utilitarian, but like she probably has the most utility of any hero in the game. You can use her anywhere, whether it's running rallies, running garrisons, just field fighting. She's kind of good everywhere, so that's a good pick. The only reason sorry, go ahead.
And I also like Johnny just because he's a clown and my name was the Joker.
That's an interesting pick, and I only say because my favorite is Thunder, and Johnny is a direct counter to Thunder, so it's son of a bitch.
And here we are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, hopefully this time we won't have the interruptions that we had last. I will break the fourth wall here just a little bit. Ghost Protocol and I have recorded this once already, but I screwed up in the recording process, and so we ended up losing that recording. And during that process, it was probably the longest stint of like bloopers and just the most asinine things happening. My goat's escaping and like causing hell.
It was amazing. It was an hour and 45 minutes long. I know exactly how long. It was like 45 minutes, and I was like, hour 45 minutes later, here we are.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I mean, like I said, that's just because we have history, right? So a lot of our conversation goes a lot deeper than just the game, right? I mean, I can sit and ask you who your favorite hero is, but in reality, a lot of it comes down to the connect, like we talked about, the connections that we make in the game and the relationships that we have.
For sure.
Yeah. So
that's 100%.
So you were gone for a year. You're back now. You're focusing on ranged. Are you excited about the new heroes being released in the next Top Commander, the Riders?
No, not at all. You know, if I'm going for range, why would I be excited? I mean, I'm excited for my team and the Lions, whoever's a writer, but for me, what?
Well,
That don't bother me.
I think a lot of it is more, are you not looking forward to them because they're going to be influencing more against your ranged than you're prepared for?
No, no, I mean, I don't know. I'm not, no, that don't bother me. I'm gonna do me like I always do. I'm gonna kill some riders and some infantry
That's
out there.
right.
It'll be all right.
That's right. I don't care who's leading. I'm going to kill him anyway.
Like, bring it. Come
That's
on.
right. That's right. That's right. That's right. So you're now joined with me. You came, like I said, you came back. What was it, 2-3 weeks ago now?
Yeah, it was probably about I don't know, a week and a half, maybe.
Maybe.
I ain't been back long.
I think it's been longer than a week and a half, though. I mean, it might only be a week and a half, and I'm just crazy.
It's a week and a half.
Okay. So in that time, now you've managed to join with us up in 420. Are you ready for Island Raid and Archipelago Raid coming up?
I want to say ready. I mean, I'm ready for anything, but
Good.
as far as like the field battles and everything, that so much has changed because of the game content. So,
Yeah. So what
that's the biggest thing.
Are there any things that you're still kind of confused about or like not necessarily clear about?
No, it's kind of like one of those things, they throw a textbook in front of you, and until you get hands on, and it just, it changes the pace.
And unfortunately, they don't give you a textbook; they give you a picture book.
Yeah, or they give you a book to read. They send you those mails, and you're just like, okay, well, this explains it, and then it's like just you get thrown in.
Yeah, and you just gotta kind of rub your feet in and see what happens.
Yep, that's about what you got.
Yeah, and I mean it's the same. I mean, when we talk about beasts and we talk about survivors and we talk about all this additional extra stuff that they've thrown at us, one of the things that it does do is it adds layers. And I'm in the process right now of doing videos based on the armaments. I'm doing deep dives on the armaments right now. And one of the things that I'm really discovering, even as I'm learning and doing more about this myself, is exactly how many layers of context this game has. So, for example, you can't really ask me who's the best hero, because that's not adding enough context. There's not enough layers to the question, right?
For sure.
It's not what's the best armament. It's not what's the best hone.
Mm-hmm.
The question is what's the best hone for me, right? For my position, for what I need. Layers of context.
Sure. Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Yeah. So with all that being said, and seeing the changes that have happened in the game so far, what like I said, you were gone for a whole year, so there's a ton that changed in that year. What are some of the biggest changes that you think has come out since you left?
I mean, we talking good and bad?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
I mean, in my opinion, game content wise, it's great because you're always busy. There's always something to do.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is between the monsters and the armorants and the truck thing. And I mean, there's so much to do now. The bad is, we had this before in the first video, is that you eliminate communication and you eliminate relationships within the alliance.
Right. I remember us talking about this. So basically the concept is that by adding so much other things to do in the game, you're removing the element of basically being bored. Right? Because like and this is the same thing in parenting or anything like that, right? When it comes to like screen time, and this is kind of an argument that goes all over the place. You have to find a way to be bored, constructively. And one of the ways we did that when there was nothing else to do in the game was chatting, getting to know each other, spending time in alliance chat, meeting other players and the rest of it, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let's put it this way. If you have somebody that comes in and they drop a lot of money on the game, and they just want to grow, and that's all they want to do. They don't want to chat. You never see them in the chat box. All they're going to do is hop the lines and jump to somebody that has more might or owning the region or something like that. Versus you've kept people of big might in your alliance just from communication, just from talking,
Yeah.
You come home from work, if it's a bad day, I mean, you want to play the game and talk to your buddies and BS. It's the same thing why PlayStation and Xbox are so popular and everything like that. It's just people want to come home and chill. That's the whole reason for mobile games and everything like that.
So
just to vibe out.
So you kind of feel like they're almost giving us too much content.
Yes, I feel like they've eliminated the communication aspect, which is fine. Business is business, and they're going to look for ways to make money.
Sure.
And people are going to spend that money.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the relationships built across the world with people, I mean, that's just, that's also just as important.
And I think that absolutely brings a huge kind of spotlight on, what this game is about. Don't get me wrong. It's a war game. It's a real-time strategy. It involves, a lot of kind of cooperation and stuff like that, 100%. But you and I both know a huge proponent of that is also maintaining those relationships. I mean, alliances can crumble and fall based on improper communication, based on misunderstandings. And so if you don't have a handle on that from the beginning, and like you said, if more of the focus is on the game content and less on the almost political side of keeping the alliance strong, right? Or that socioeconomic side of keeping the alliance strong. Like you said, there's really no connection to players. And I don't...
Sorry to interrupt you. But
no, go ahead.
It's also the simple fact, like, me and you got along from the start.
Yeah.
But you have a very different way of approaching politics in the game.
Sure.
Than I do. And remember when we first started, I don't know if you do, we had those issues where I had to step in and just communicate in a different style.
Yeah.
And we want to know that without communicating with each other first.
And being okay with each other's styles. Like, it's not necessarily just about having different styles. It's also being okay with accepting that your style might not necessarily be the right one. So when you stepped in, for example, because I wasn't able to get it done, and you came in with a different perspective, right? It's not that I'm less of a player because of it. It's just that my style wasn't working in that situation.
Yeah, we were understanding.
Yeah.
We understood the differences between each other on that speaking political side.
Right.
And that just, like I said, but we wouldn't have known that without the communication. Mm-hmm. Now what we have is it's hard to learn that in the game.
Well, and they don't make it any better. And I'm going to agree with you on this because they don't make it any better with the fact that they've gotten rid of DS, Dark Seal, which was one of the events that brought the entire region, that basically forced the entire region to work together. Mm-hmm. Right. So you had to connect with the people in the other alliances within your region because, 100%. Every month your entire region was under attack. So you had to be, aware of that. Then they took Arena, and they made Arena not locked to your region anymore. So it was locked to everybody. And they did the same thing with Top Commander. And then they opened up the region or the alliances. So the alliances aren't even locked to the regions anymore. You can join alliances from any region. It doesn't even matter anymore. So what you're saying is exactly correct. They've basically taken out what I think is a huge social environment that they have a great aspect of the market on in lieu of shitty little games and shitty little content mixes. So I totally appreciate that point.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's the name of that movie? Ready Player One.
Yeah.
When that evil guy that's running the company or wants to find the Easter eggs in the game, all he wants to do is throw ads up on the screen.
Yeah.
That's almost like, which I hope it doesn't get there. It's not there yet, but I'm hoping it doesn't get there because the more you throw into the game, communication just goes out the window.
Yeah. I can totally appreciate that. And with community being such a huge proponent of this game, that's a big misstep in what they're doing.
No, 100%.
Yeah. So let me ask you with that in mind, with the community aspect in mind, what are some things that you've seen that they've done well since you've been gone?
I mean, like I said, incorporating. I mean, we've had to talk about, cost wise, like it seems like it's more efficient or like lower. I don't know how to word that properly, but.
So let me just jump in. You mean like the cost to access for younger accounts is a lot less?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah, we've talked about that. My son just started playing the game a week ago, and I mean, the way, like, if you start a new account, it seems a lot funner and more to do than what it was. So, I mean, new players, it will definitely hold their attention because it held his. I mean, he's still playing it, so I mean, that's a plus. Back then,
what is
the case? It was.
Sorry to interrupt. What is he at for might right now?
I have no clue. He's
Oh,
in your
really?
alliance.
I haven't
Yeah,
looked.
he's in he's in
I
your
forgot
farm
his name. I
alliance.
don't even know what his name is. It's not Ghost Protocol Junior, so I can't.
I know. I know. It's CRR Hunter. That's what it is.
CRR Hunter. I'll remember that and I'll
Yeah.
look after the podcast.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Nice.
But no, I mean, it seems like incorporating events like the one going on right now, Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes it fun because it's a great movie.
Yeah.
You know, people that love the movie are going to push for that. You
Yeah.
know, pushing outside, which I guess they get revenue from, like trying to team up with movies and everything like that. Like, it's
Sure.
definitely a plus because it makes the game more fun.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I'm not taking away from how fun the game is because it is fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it warrants the value that you put into it, right?
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Yeah. It's one of those situations where the longer I've been playing the game, the more that I've been, like, my opinion moves on the game. I used to think wholeheartedly that this was one of the most balanced games that was out there in regards to free to play versus pay to win, because everything was achievable for the free to play. You just needed to grind it out, but you could get everything. And then they started to move away from that. But even in moving away from that, they've brought in a couple of things that really do well. So I'll give you a couple examples. The Alliance Vault, fantastic addition. No one asked for it. They gave us the Alliance Vault, and it's a fantastic way for free gold. Free gold. Okay? And if you don't if you don't know about gold, it's the number one currency in the game, right? That's the currency that's the pay to win currency. And so by adding the Alliance Vault, which takes 5% of all the Alliance spends and converts that into gold that you can donate to other players in your Alliance, it gives us the capability to reward the ones that are pushing good for the Alliance, that are growing hard for themselves, that are, promoting well for. So there's tons of avenues that they've done that makes it much more accessible. But you're right. It's almost like they've got so many things. It's hard to stay focused on what, like, the core of the game is.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't want to push like the communication 100%. That's the reason I came back to the game, was the communication. It was, like I said, we've been friends for almost 3 years. I have a buddy that I'm playing PlayStation with 7 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Never met you guys in person. But yet you guys know all about my life.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The friendships are real, is what you're saying.
Yeah. But it's also, I've only been back a week and a half. So I haven't taken advantage of everything thrown into the game.
That's right. There's a lot to unpack still.
So the main thing that I have noticed is the communication. Like, it's not there. It's just, when you're asleep at night, you had your own little group that you could just scroll back and see how it was going overnight. And it'd be like, oh man, they're having great conversations overnight.
Yeah.
Now it's probably not so much.
It is definitely, like, I have also noticed the chat rooms themselves kind of, not necessarily degrading, but being less active for sure. It's something that I'm pushing for. Obviously, the people that I bring into the Alliance, I want them to be active and I want them to participate in chat because,
for sure.
Like we mentioned, although it's not a direct influence to the game, it's still a very big proponent of the game. It's a big prospect of it that you need to have.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, you have 6 R4s and then there's you. So you have 7 leadership positions. So, I mean, that's where throughout the time that I've played, there was always at least one leadership person. If you had an issue, you could go to. You know what I'm saying? Even before you hit the R5. So even before somebody just hits you up, you hit the R4 up. And you always had at least one R4 that could handle that business that you had an issue with.
For sure.
And like I said, week and a half, so I don't know, but I haven't seen it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I can definitely see where a lot of that disconnect happens. Because we see it in a lot of things. Kids with screen time, for example, don't know how to be bored, right? And
110%.
And unfortunately, if you want to know anything about history, a lot of the most important inventions that we have happened when people were bored. Like algebra was invented when he was bored. Do you know what I mean? Like there's learning how to deal with, this ability of not just scrolling or not just having consistent content to complete all day, every day. You're right. It takes away from that community aspect, that conversation, that connection part. And I think we're starting to see that rippling effects as well. So I can totally appreciate that too.
Yeah, I mean that's just my viewpoint up until this point. It's not me, like I said, down in the game.
Yeah.
It's just I haven't experienced enough in the new one. It's just the main notice has been that communication is just out the window.
Yeah.
So
I can definitely appreciate that. Like I said, I think the game itself is going through some really weird changes. It seems to be going through some very quick changes. And it's almost like it's going through some growing pains at the same time. So it's almost like the newer players also, because there's so much to focus on, it's like they don't even need to worry about the community because the game is the bigger aspect.
Well, a business is a business. You're always in business to make money.
It's true.
So, I mean,
it's true.
Like I said, I can respect that. But I guess playing the game so long, especially someone like you that's been playing the game, for years, it's just, if they push it too far, when's the game going to die?
That's true. And I think that's been my biggest concern. Just because they're sending things out so fast. In my mind, there's really only two ways. And of course I could be misinterpreting the whole thing, but in my mind, there's really only two ways, that the business is focused. It's either focused to, for the long game, right? The longest longevity it can for the long game, or it's flash in a pan, burn as quick as we can and get out. And it seems to me that right now the game, with how fast they're putting things out, it's not really necessarily about the long stemming view of the future, but more about what they can get while they can before they develop their next game.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, business is a business.
It is what it is.
I mean, that's kind of how it is. I mean, the game dies, we move on to another one. I'll still be your friend, and that's, like I said, that is just because of communication.
Yeah. And I mean, that's also...
If my whole thing is, if I didn't want to communicate and hop on my phone and play a game, I'd go to Monopoly Go or something like that.
Yeah, I'd go to something else.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? If I just want to... But that's not it. It's, I get on and I want to, if I want a war game and, like I said, you're from... I don't want to throw your location out there without your permission, but I'm from the United States. You're from a different country.
I live in Canada. Oh, yeah, everyone knows. I'm a Canadian ginger.
And that would have never happened. We would have never met in our life without that communication.
Yeah, without the game itself, without the connection.
And that's where I'm at. I mean, we've had close friends from Barcelona. We've had close friends from Germany in the game. I mean, we've had literally the whole world.
And the translator sucks at it too, so that doesn't make it any easier. So
yeah, for sure. It translates into, what'd you say?
Yeah, it's like the translator's drunk half the time and stoned the other half the time. So
you gotta pick out the words and then try to figure out what they say.
Exactly. So I do want to ask though, because I remember before you left, you and I were kind of always pushing each other. I mean, you were obviously stronger than I was back then, because you had spent more than I did, which is, just part of the game. Like we were talking, it's a business. But now the roles are a little bit reversed. So how long are you going to let me have that before you pass me? That's
Well, I'll tell you, I think I hit 71 million today.
No, stop. Slow down.
I didn't do nothing. I ain't spending money. I ain't doing nothing.
Slow down.
We already discussed offline my goals. That money is not in my pocket right now. So, I mean, you probably got it for a little bit. See, but as you grow higher, you grow slower.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Eventually, I'll catch up to you at some point.
Yeah, just because of the...
But we'll just let you gloat on that because my beard is still better and the hair on my head is still gorgeous. So
sure, I'll take one. My Doomsday dick is bigger. That's what it is.
There you go. You can keep that for now.
Yeah, it's like my Doomsday dick is bigger and your real dick is bigger. Well, fuck.
No wrong with that.
So now with all the new additions, I mean, let's be honest. We've got armaments. You were here for armaments, right? You started with armaments.
Yep. And my knowledge behind it is terrible. So the videos you put out help.
Oh, perfect. I'm glad you've been watching them. Especially with all the new stuff that's coming out, it's kind of been. And I have to be honest, that's probably been the most humbling aspect. I don't know how many comments I get a day from people just saying like, thanks for teaching these things because I didn't know, or thanks for making it clear. And I really got to give IGG hell for that, because they're the ones that have the potential to teach people and they just don't.
Well, it's not only that. This again, I hate to beat the subject, goes back to communication. When they first came out, you remember how the chat was popping about like, what do we do here? Like, how do we get this? Now it's just kind of like everybody wings it.
It's true. And I mean, it puts more pressure on me to make sure that the content I put out is consistent.
Yeah. And then that's like I said, beating a dead horse at this point.
Yeah. No, the horse is not dead. It's just overloaded with other game content. Okay.
All right. We'll word it that way.
Yeah, exactly. Make it a little bit nicer.
There's a reason why your videos are booming. Not the beard.
No, it's because I don't put my face on those videos.
Okay.
That's just my sexy voice.
You on that chat line, huh?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I don't. I hide my face during the regular videos and just put my voice. I'd like to get into voice acting though. That'd be sweet. To be fair.
Let's pull a T, sir.
I remember you got your son to do that, and he's so nervous. That's funny. So, okay, so let me ask you a question here, because it is kind of important to understand more of your perspective. If we have an idea what you spend on the game, are you comfortable letting us know kind of what you've budgeted yourself for the game in an average month?
I mean, budgeted myself for the game.
Yeah, like what are you comfortable spending?
What's the budget? First of all,
the hallmark of a true gamer.
What's that budget?
What's a budget?
I mean, recently, I'll be honest with you, bad habits. I had extreme when I grew that fast, that hard. It was bad. I was in a dark place in my life.
Yeah.
Ex-military, PTSD, and it was just a dark place. And to be honest, it felt good. I made the money. I worked and made the money, paid my bills, and then pretty much, whatever I had left went into the game.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be honest between this game, and it wasn't brought up, but I came from Lord's Noble.
Oh yeah, that's right. You came from Lord's.
Yes, and we're probably talking a house.
Yeah.
Like that type of money.
Yeah. And that was in Lord's as well, though, right? That was in Lord's as well.
Oh yeah. That's including. We're talking 5-6 year, maybe 7-year span. Like house now, not so much because I want a future and life, and my head's in the right space now.
You're feeling a little bit better than you were back then.
Oh, I feel and beautiful.
Well, I'm glad that you've had that little, following this and knowing more context. I'm glad that you took the year off, because at the end of the day, being in a negative headspace is far more detrimental than, waking up and realizing, like you said, that there's a reason to living, that there's a reason to be here.
For sure.
There's a focus now going forward. There's growth going forward. And honestly, I'm in the same boat myself. I was diagnosed with PTSD, probably, I think 5-6 years ago now, from a really shitty work experience that I had. And it made me suicidal. So I've, spent some time focusing on myself and preparing not preparing, but like working on and progressing myself to be stronger in that situation, so that it's not just about me. So I can totally understand, how that feels.
Oh, for sure. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, this friendship and what we talk about, because like I said, there's things about my life that isn't going to be on this podcast.
Yeah.
And there's things I know about your life that isn't going to be on this podcast. But I mean, granted, it came from the game, of course.
Sure.
But it was that initial communication, and then we found out little detail about each other's lives, and then it turned into a 3-year friendship.
It's so cute.
I know. So yes, you are one of the main reasons I came back.
Well, I appreciate that. That makes me feel good, because at the end of the day, My entire premise in this game, my entire hope has always been, and always like my motto, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you can consider this my motto for life, is that we're nothing but insecure monkeys in clothing, hallucinating on light, right? Humans are nothing more than insecure monkeys, right? Insecure apes hallucinating on light. And so with that motto, it gives me the capability to understand that people are people. They're all having an experience their own way. And I try to give people room to do that, whether that's in the game, whether it's in life, you know, in every aspect. And I think one of the best things that has come out of that is the relationships that I've made, because it allows me to connect more with people, right? I think one of the biggest things that we miss as humans is empathy, especially now. Like, nobody cares about each other. And yet it's
very selfish world.
Yeah. And yet it's one of those things that I focus on a lot. I want to make sure that the relationships that I make, they understand that I'm as involved and devoted to that relationship as they are.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what is it? Humility. You're showing humility in who you are, because you could be an R5 or the leader of the Lions and to be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you're not. You're over here making content to help not yourself, because you know the info. You're making the content to help everybody else around you.
And I'll be honest, YouTube doesn't pay very much, and neither does IG. So IGG doesn't pay anything. So a lot of this isn't done for my own benefit, although I would love to make a future in this, right? I'd love to make a lifestyle out of it.
Oh, for sure.
But
I mean, your growth has been immense, because I've been following you since day one.
Well,
I mean,
that right there is another red or another green check mark to the strength of the community. As much as you know, we can sit and talk about it this entire time, but it really is a fundamental aspect to this game. We are all real people living real lives, connecting to each other through little digital screens, right? Yep. Creating real connections. And some of those ones, I know people who, for example, have met their spouses in this game. They've met loved ones in this game. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do as well. Well, not this game. Lord's Noble, when I was playing it, I met the R5 of the Lions house, and he was married to his wife.
Yeah.
And they met in the game.
Yeah. So like it is a situation where those bonds are real, right?
100%.
So following that, it's really on IGG's best interest to focus not only on the free-to-play players and the low-spending players, but really to focus on that community aspect, right? I think there's a couple of main things that they need to address, right? Content creators is one of them. That would be a huge prospect for them to start taking care of their content creators, not just selfishly because I'm out there, but literally because it would entice others to get out there and build the community as well. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
If they provided those outlets that said, hey, look, go out and create the community and we will benefit you, people would do it. We're sticklers for free shit. Mm-hmm. Sticklers for free shit. I want free stuff. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you're out here making the content. You're the one spending 12 hours to 15 hours a day sitting there grinding and editing videos and doing all this for,
pittance.
Literally.
It's more for the recognition. I'll be honest. The best part about it is simply the recognition. When I jump into a chat room, for example, and I get 5 or 6 people saying, hey, what's up? We really like your videos. Thanks for, making them. That's what really keeps me going. It's the motivation to know that my hard work is being used and being used properly, right? If I can help you be stronger, that to me is far better, far more motivational, and far more influential, right, than turning profit from IGG. So if it came at the cost of that, I would obviously say support the community. But again, it's a situation where IGG has the opportunity to do it, and they actively choose not to. And it's not just me who makes this mention. I was talking to Armored about this too. And I've been talking to Panda about it. And like, this is a common occurrence, right? These game companies have a way to help create the communities that they want. They've got a Discord, right? So they've got ways to do that. They've got star referrer programs and other ways to help do that. But it's all really kind of surface stuff. They're really not diving deep to building that community themselves. They're forcing their players to do it for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's factual. And as you as players, and me. But you as a content creator, you're having to adapt to everything that they're throwing into the game while trying to still communicate with your alliance and the community. So it just adds more to you. A video 3 years ago, or the time spent into this 3 years ago, could have been 6 to 8 hours, and now you're what, 15 hours a day, just grinding.
Well, it's a lot of it is to keep up with things. I mean, I have to obviously maintain a 130 million account now. It's still growing. It takes a lot of resources. I mean, one of the biggest gripes in this game is the amount of farming you have to do, the cost of repairing tier 6 troops and shit like that. And yeah, I mean, finding content. I mean, I look at some of these other content creators, and Armored does this really well, but I mean, he covers a lot of the drama that happens in different regions, right? The different region wars that happen. He does a lot of investigation on and talking to a lot of players about what's happening and why things are happening and why metro attacks are happening and all this kind of stuff. And that by its own right is a ton of time, because you have to connect with people. You have to get onto their time frame. You have to figure out, and then translation issues, and you name it, right? So, so one of my benefits, and I think it's really only one of the things that I do because I'm lazy, I don't like to edit a lot. Okay. So like most of what I do is, I don't like to edit a lot. It takes a long time. So most of what I do is one cut shots. Right.
Yeah, I understand.
Even if there's bloopers, I'm going to leave them in there because at the end of the day, I want to be more organic and real.
Yeah. Right? I mean, that goes along with literally what we've said, connection. I mean, you want people to see you as a real person.
Yeah, 100%. I just want to be recognized.
Just out there, not just out there grinding for money. Or, I mean, of course you are, but that's not the only reason. Like, your main reason and focus is you want to help the community in whatever way you can.
Yeah, I want to make sure that the players, the average player, right, which I consider myself an average player, right? I don't spend a shit ton. I spend enough to get by, right? Yeah. I've got some of the rewards you get for spending. I typically buy every city skin that you can, not the expensive ones, just the elite ones, right? So I'm like the average player. But even in those situations, I want to make sure that the average player, the free-to-play player, or even some of the ones that spend a decent amount can do it as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, the best results for free-to-play players.
That's right. That's always been my focus, right? The small players, and helping to teach. But a lot of that is also based on the community. You wouldn't believe how many times people ask questions in chat, and instead of asking me directly. So they're asking, not necessarily that they're asking randomly in chat, but it's like they either refuse to ask directly in chat because they're scared to talk in chat, or they won't ask me even though my inbox is open for questions all the time.
Well, I mean, I could go at that as you're the R5. You deal with political.
Sure.
Like that is, you are a diplomat. Is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
You're the diplomat for the alliance. I mean, you're the one that communicates. You're the one that handles business. So they may look at it as you're just busy and they don't want to bother you. But that's like what we were talking about before, the R4s. That's where they just need to learn to ask the R4s, either DM them or not be afraid to message the chat.
It's almost like they don't want to ever be known as someone who doesn't know something about the game. When I'm going to be the first one to tell you, there's a lot of shit even I don't know about the game that I learn. I talk to Zed, whenever he streams, I'm active in his stream, asking him questions, trying to learn more about the game myself so that I have a better toolbox to bring home to the viewers that I have.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I mean, like I said, that's one of the things is back in the day, it was fluid. It didn't matter what time you hopped in on the game. It didn't matter at all. And all you would see is just people talking.
Mm-hmm.
Asking questions. Now that is not the case.
And you don't even see it in region chat very often either.
No, because that was another thing is even if you got on and there was only a couple people, you go into the region and there'd be just hella people sitting there just talking and BSing. What time is it? Where are you from? Just casual conversations.
Now,
would happen.
I have to admit this is probably anecdotal of us though. I'm sure that there are alliances and I'm sure that there are regions that are much more like that still. And I do take some blame for that. Sorry?
No. Let me put it this way. If you start a new alliance right now in a new region and you had a heavy pay to play alliance, okay? And then you have alliance like yours, like when we first started the alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to last longer?
In the game, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. The alliance that'll probably sustain is our type of alliance.
That's what I'm saying.
But,
so I mean, I understand you saying that there are alliances that are still like that, but that alliance is probably existing.
Yeah.
Because of their communication.
Sure, but we also have to anticipate that a lot of that also comes on the fact that you have to allow those alliances to grow and die and grow and die. So like I give this as a prime example. GROP is currently going through what I like to call a rebuilding phase. We had
I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, let's go ahead.
This was on our first video.
Yeah.
We actually discussed this. I jumped 4 regions with you.
Yeah, I mean, we started way in the back. I mean in 420 here.
Yeah, and we just grabbed a person or a few people, and we just picked people.
Yeah.
Like there was just people that just stuck with us.
Yeah.
But they stuck with us not because of paying.
No, it wasn't because of our whales.
Communication. Yeah. They stuck with us because of communication.
I think they stuck to us because not only did we have like an alliance that really felt like a family, but our focus was never on like benefiting the whales. Yes, having whales is always a good thing in your alliance. I think every alliance needs to have 1 or 2 whales in their alliance to make it effective.
For sure.
But we never catered to them. And even now we don't. I'll give you a prime example. I mentioned the Alliance Vault already, but the Alliance Vault is one of those things where some whales, for example, will actually push heavily to get their gold back that they put into it. So all the gold that they put in, I want all of that gold back, that bonus gold, because I'm putting it out there. Well, we said straight off the bat, yeah. So because what happens is the Alliance gets, like I said, the Alliance gets 5% of all the packs that you buy, right? So So if you as a whale go out and spend 100,000 gold and give the Alliance 20,000 free gold, right, to do with as it wants, a lot of whales are like, hey, I donated that 10,000 gold. I want it back myself. Or that 20,000 gold. I want it back myself. Which is, in my opinion, a super greedy way of being a whale. And unfortunately, it's the same mentality that billionaires have. Without getting too political, the premise comes down to, what we do with it. So even in our alliance, one thing that we're hyper focused on is allowing the average player to have access to that bonus gold. So none of our whales or none of our spenders get their gold back. We donate gold to every player who performs well. We set a ratio for our team, right? So how many points you have to get this event or around this goal. Anybody who's above that, regardless of your might, regardless of how much you spend, you get a piece of the pie. And I think that mentality, that amount of character strength is what keeps people around with us.
And then you have me, which I already told you I don't want it to ever come to me.
Yeah, and I've had a couple of people tell me that too, and I'm going to tell them the same thing that I'm telling you. I'm going to send it your way anyways. If you want to donate gold back, you're more than welcome to. But I'm not playing favorites. One way or the other, I'm not playing favorites.
There's a standard, and you got to be consistent. And that's consistency, and I think that's probably one of the big things. You know what I'm saying? You have the communication style, and you have the ability to lead, and then you're also consistent with who you are as a person.
Yeah, I try to be.
As long as I've known you, that has never changed. That hasn't deferred. That hasn't. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure if money went to your head right now, you'd still be sitting there doing exactly what you're doing now with no money in your pocket. I'm not saying you don't have money. I'm just saying with no money in your pocket.
Yeah, I get you.
Famous overnight.
Yeah.
Same exact thing.
Well, and I kind of try to keep that in the fact that we're dealing with real money every day. So that Alliance Vault, if you look at our Alliance Vault, for example, our Alliance Vault currently has approximately $400, 400 real dollars sitting in it right now, right? $430 or something like that. So we're dealing with real money, which means that the onus is more on me to be open and honest about everything. And like, if there's any questions about, because I mean, we are talking about real money, and I've already heard of many scenarios where people have gone in and cleared out their Alliance vaults and then ran away with the money. Like it's direct theft, and I could just never do that. So, you know, even in our situation, like I said, even when it comes to gold, I don't donate to 99 gold so that someone can immigrate to join us. I'm not that kind of person. If you want gold donated through the vault, you're welcome to donate first, and then I will distribute. But it's a group's gold. I'm not going to take from that to benefit one person or the other.
Yeah, it's about the grind. It's the dedication. It's the people you see stepping up, and you know, might doesn't matter. It's the participation.
That's right, 100%. It's always been about the same participation.
Thing, which you said you were a business owner before, so I mean, you understand. You got to look out for your employees and benefit those who, you know, are doing their job.
The ones that are actively out there pushing to be their best.
100%. It doesn't matter what they have in life as long as they're doing it.
That's right. You know? As long as they are doing their best.
Yep.
Right? Because that's all we can ever ask of any one person is just to do their best.
Yep.
Now
the rest is just understanding and being there.
That's right. The rest is just BS. No, but seriously, after this conversation or during this conversation, a lot of what we've been talking about is, you know, what the developers are doing, what they've done so far, some of the changes they've done now. I want to ask you a question that I ask all of my guests that I have on, which is basically moving forward, what advice would you give the developers to give this game the most longevity that it has?
Obviously, we preached it this whole time, so I'm just simply going to say communication, and then I'm also going to go with, ways to benefit communicating a little bit more with alliances in the region. And then I'm going to go with you content creators. I said it the first video, and I'm going to say it now. If there wasn't people like you that pushed this game, it probably wouldn't be as it is.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, there's a handful of us that are doing the Lord's work, as they say.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, people out there that are just pushing, doing this. I mean, like I said, we've already discussed the time that you put into doing this, your channel and everything like that. And you're asking for nothing.
I mean, now I'm asking everybody to join. I mean, just read that at home. Just hold on. I'm going to spot this real quick. People at home, go ahead and click that join button. I am asking for a little bit of help.
But I mean, what I mean is you're not blowing up, you know what I'm saying? Just asking for money. You're just simply, you want the community to know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. My entire goal is always just to help the community.
And there's people like you, like IGG may get them into the game, and they may get them to start the game.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to something that they don't know, what are they going to do? They're going to put it in that Google bar, and they're going to be like,
YouTube, tell me.
Yeah. And then goes the content creators, and here you go.
Yeah.
So I would say more recognition for you guys to put it out there. And I know we discussed this last video about the what's it called, the content creation or whatever is going on. I think it's going on right now.
Yeah, the creator's turf or the creator turf.
Yeah. But, you know, and that goes down with the views because IGG could be pushing this out.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? You're top.
Yeah, and we talked about this before, but one of the problems with the creator turf is the fact that the limits of what you need to acquire are so unachievable for the majority of content creators that they have. So they don't have any million subscriber content creators that are out there generating content. I mean, one of the largest content creators has, I think, 9,000 subs, right? And that's Panda, one of the more well-known ones.
Yeah.
Right? And so even in those situations, the limits that they put on us are so like outside the majority of our limits that we don't really get any recognition for it anyways.
Yeah, but it could also be something like IGG could put out a newsletter. You know, they love sending a mail out. They could put out a newsletter and saying, "Oh, these are, you know, the top 5 content creators. They had this many views this last month." It takes probably their company is massive, and it takes no time for one of their techs just to search up that information. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it wouldn't be very much at all. Obviously,
that's what I'm saying.
Easy for them to do, yeah.
Pop a link into the mill, and then they'll click on some players. I'm not saying all players. I'm bad at it. I just read and delete all my emails. But some players actually do. Some players actually do read their stuff.
Delete all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then some players will actually click that link and they'll be like, oh my gosh. And the first video that pops up could be armaments.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I've been struggling with this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And
so, I mean,
it's a good thing you even bring up armaments because, like I mentioned, I'm going through another deep dive that I'm doing this year because a lot has changed since last year, right? And I've learned a lot since last year, so my advice is different than last year. And, so as the game changes, the information changes too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And that's why you content creators need that recognition.
I definitely appreciate that. And I promise I didn't pay him to say that.
Not at all.
No, I'm just fucking around.
This is not a paid ad.
That's right. There's no paid ad here. All right, so we got to wrap this up here. We're getting close to the 1 hour mark, so I do want to get you a little bit of an opportunity here. I know that like I said, it's almost like we've been beating the dead horse based on how important the community is to this game. But I want to give you a chance, like I have also with everybody else, to give shout outs to anybody that you know that's playing the game, any of your friends that you'd like to in the region, or even some of the friends that you haven't been able to reach out to yet. Like you said, you've only been back for a week and a half. So if there's any players that you'd like to say hi to or give them a welcome that you're back or anything like that, now is kind of the chance to go ahead and do that.
Well, I mean, you could edit this part out in a second. I mean, the main reason I came back was you.
Uh-huh.
And that's your personality.
I appreciate that.
You are as a person. But, I mean, a lot of it just has to do with, I'd help outside, family, friends, I told you my buddy on PlayStation.
Yeah.
And they're also part of the reason why I came back. I have recent friends that I made, and that's...
So how about this? What about some people in your life? Because, I mean, you've been talking about, and this gets way deeper than what we need to, but you've been talking about being in a bad space in your life and now being in a much better space. So why don't you give a shout out to some of the people that helped you get through that bad time to where you are now?
I mean, I've met recent people in the last 6 months that helped build me to where I am. And also found God, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Nice.
My family has always been there. My buddy on PlayStation, and then you. And that's, my son's always, I can't believe I wasn't going to shout out my son.
I was waiting for it.
He should have been number one there.
Yeah,
I almost forgot about him.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, there's just been a lot, but those are the main people that kind of been there. And then now that I'm back, I did reach out, or I sent Profic and, people that I just haven't checked on in a while to see how they're doing.
Yeah.
I ain't heard nothing back yet. I don't know if they played a game or even have Discord still downloaded, but yeah. But
I feel you.
But if we're talking game wise, the main reason is you. I mean,
I appreciate that. I do.
You're a good person at heart, or else you want to be doing what you're doing.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I mean, I appreciate the compliments. It's one of those things where I don't like to, shit, you're going to make me cry. I don't like to accept that shit. It's really humbling. But it's the same sentiment I get from a lot of people, right? People reach out to me every day and they say thanks. They say thanks for making content, for helping us teach. I mean, I spread your stuff to the other players in our lines to help them too. And like I said, that's really why I do this. It's because that's what I'm saying. Everybody wants to make a footprint. It doesn't matter how big your footprint. Some people do, you already have kids, you have a wife, and your community knows that. And it just, you know what I'm saying? People can say that's their footprint. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which it is. That's definitely a footprint.
Mm-hmm.
But you have an extra footprint, which is this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We're in a technology state that these videos will last forever.
Well, I mean, as long as I keep them on my hard drive and I don't dip my hard drive in water or some stupid shit.
Yeah, but somebody out there knows about it.
That's true. I mean, it's on YouTube. It's been uploaded, so YouTube has it.
But either way, that's a footprint, because the footprint is somebody watched your video and they're like, oh, there's this guy right here.
Yeah. And again, yeah, well, exactly. And again, that's really why I do this. You can consider it shallow, you can consider it selfish, but I do it for the fame. I do like to know that my hard work is being appreciated. And it does feel nice to know that the effort that I do put in is being noticed by the people that I want it to be noticed by.
Oh, right? For sure.
to know that the influence that I'm trying to make in the game is actually having a noticeable effect in the community. That to me is far more like motivating than waking
100%.
up and looking at subscribers or members or things like that.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyways, that being said, folks, we're going to wrap it up on that fantastic point. That fantastic make me feel good moment. I hope it made you feel good too. Because at the end of the day, half the reason why we do all of this stuff is to make ourselves feel good. Get that dopamine, right? Enjoy our small time on this planet. And with all of that being said,
he's going to cry when he gets off the mic.
A little bit, probably. With all of that being said, thank you, Ghost Protocol, for joining us on Who TF Are You and introducing yourself to the crowd. I will have to put a little bit of a precursor or a disclaimer on this video because of the content that we've gone into. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't like talking about, the big S word. So I'll have to precursor that. But doesn't bother me because at the end of the day, the conversation is the real winner. Okay? Other than that, folks, if you did like what you see, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, fill out the notification bell, and become a member today. It's only $6.99 a month Canadian, and if you know anything about the exchange rate, the Canadian dollar is not worth very much right now. So it's probably the best value you're going to get this side of, I don't know, a 2-cent hooker, but those aren't available anywhere in North America. So go ahead, like I said, like, comment, and subscribe. Fill out the notification bell. Love, peace, chicken grease, and until next time, stay lifted.